finally, I finally got around to doing my top 10 favourite films of the year of 2019. So, let's get on with it. First, the honourable mentions. Judy, Jojo Rabbit, Rocket Man, Pokemon Detective Pikachu, Shaun the Sheep Farmageddon, Bombshell. Number 10 goes to Sam Mendes' 1917. I kind of knew what I was going in for, being a journey across into enemy territory to deliver a message to call off the morning attack during World War One, all done in like Birdman Russian arc style, all in one take. I really do like the acting of these two soldiers that are in the movie, as well as Mark Strong, Benedict Cumberbatch and Colin Farrell, who are in the film for a combined total of like 10 minutes. It boasts some really strong cinematography and brilliant score by Thomas Newman, and great direction and writing by Sam Mendes. Although it's a worthy film for Sam Mendes' filmography, and a promising start for these two actors who I don't know huge amounts yet, but I should know more as more films come by. Number 9 is Le Mans 66, also known as Ford vs Ferrari, boasting some very strong performances by Matt Damon and Christian Bale, and great direction by James Mangold, and some brilliant fast and tight editing, particularly in these racing sequences, which I really like. Although the movie does have some incredibly strong qualities, it might be a film it's basically one of the best, more casual watching experiences. Nevertheless, I really did enjoy this movie. And of course, I'm not really that into racing, like Formula 1 or 24-hour racing, but this movie sure did, because I kind of like it. Number 8. Toy Story 4. Okay, when this was announced, I thought Toy Story 3 was a fitting enough conclusion as it is, but man, 9 years later we get a better conclusion. It's like Disney, like Pixar were somewhat apologizing for Toy Story 3, even though it's a perfect enough finale as it is, but this one just made it somewhat more of a perfect movie than Toy Story 3. I feel like it tries to triumph the third film in every glory as it is. Like, it had new interesting characters, it introduced some old ones we haven't saw in the third film, and it had some brilliant direction, brilliant writing, brilliant voice acting by Tim Allen and Tom Hanks, and even Keanu Reeves has a role as Canadian Daredevil. This movie is really joyous, I could say, and it kind of grew on me more when I think about it. At number 7, this is a movie that somewhat I understood more and more as time went by. It kind of grew on me, and that movie was Brad Pitt's Ad Astra, where he plays an astronaut with mild autism who goes across the solar system to find his dad and just destroy this really glitchy machine that's causing shockwaves and damaging infrastructure in America and around the world. This movie has some gorgeous cinematography in the movie, like him floating above like planetary rings, and him in Mars, and him underwater in Mars, and some pretty captivating performances from Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones. This movie keeps you on the very edge of your seats, and kind of is one of the most atmospheric films that I've saw this year, or if so, for a very long time. If you haven't seen Ad Astra, please check it out. It is just a gorgeous treat for your eyes. And number 6 is a film I liked so much that I watched it at the cinema twice. Once back at my then hometown of Cambridge, then again at an IMAX cinema in Berlin during a school trip. And that is Alita Battle Angels. This was James Cameron's first film for 10 years, and oh boy, did he deliver, even though he's again in the producing role, not directing, because Robert Rodriguez is directing it. But holy moly, the movie's visuals are amazing and out of this world. The score by Junkie XL is beautiful and reminiscent of his work in Mad Max Fury Road. And these And the acting, particularly of Jenna Connery and Christoph Waltz and Mushala Ali, there's somewhat a pretty great performance and some pretty lush sets and some great cinematography to sprinkle in. Although it's a movie that blows you away and had been in development hell for like 15 years and just is so great. I think I can't wait for Alita 2 Battle Angels, which has Edward Norton in it apparently. If so, they must reenact that scene from Birdman where he fights in his underpants. At number 5, it's a really controversial movie at best, and it's Joker. The more I thought about this movie, not just how the better the film got, the more I thought this isn't really a superhero or let alone comic book movie, let alone an anti-hero movie. It's more of a character to study, this movie, about how one mentally ill man whose appearance is prawny somehow inspired like an uprising against the rich after he shot 3 Wayne bankers in the subway train. This movie somewhat raises a lot of eyebrows, yet it's all undermined with some brilliant acting by none other than Joaquin Phoenix, and some great score work, and some pretty cool color schemes that were used in the movie, and some great cinematography, and some excellent sets in the movie, and some gorgeous costuming work. The movie is brilliant technically, and the acting of Joaquin Phoenix. I think this movie should be like a case study, like to be shown at schools and universities, like a depiction of the mental health care in America, particularly in whether you see it in Trump America or 80s America. All in all, this movie is going to be talked about even beyond the 2020s. It's going to be like Fight Club, even though it's been out for more than 20 years, I still talk about this movie, even though I was like 1 year old when it came out. At number 4, although Joker was a downright cold movie, this is a hot and cold movie, even though it's a superhero movie, and it's, at number 4, Avengers Endgame. This movie felt like a very rewarding final episode of the final season, unlike Game of Thrones where they just gave you a whole middle finger at you. That movie is a 3-hour fan service fest, effectively. It's about some rock hunting and one epic battle scene at the end. Like, this movie is like one somewhat bittersweet finale to one, if not the biggest movie franchises of all time. Complete with some great performances, brilliant score work, and some incredible action scenes, and some loud and somewhat distinctively gorgeous score work. And some great cinematography, and probably the most, and some really great endings, and tied up a lot of loose ends that have been lingering around throughout the MCU. This movie is definitely one of the better entries of the MCU, and probably one of the better superhero movies out there. And it's number 4, Avengers Endgame. This movie was born special. At number 3, sorry for my really bad voice acting, it's Us. After Get Out, Jordan Peele's somewhat made a equally shocking affair, this time with doppelgangers in a Californian beach, and the tethered in the movie Us. That, although boasting some incredible performances and brilliant screenplay and excellent direction, both by Jordan Peele himself, and it is somewhat of a commentary movie. Again, like Joker, this time it's the class system and the privileges. This movie is just so terrifying, to be honest. I think this movie would perfectly eat the Joker for breakfast. Like when the home invasion scene, that was just uncomfortable at best. When they invaded Elizabeth Moss's character's house, that was so uncomfortable. Then there's the underground cellar fight, which was pretty under your skin, but nothing compares in that movie than the insane twist ending that movie just provided. I'm not going to spoil what happens in this twist ending, but chances are you're going to find more than a rabbit there. So be careful what rabbit hole you're going to fall down. At number 2 is Rian Johnson's somewhat apology for Last Jedi being Knives Out. Man, I really like Daniel Craig's performance and his southern accent as this detective, if you know what I mean. I sound more Australian, but I don't know. His performances is great, so, along with Chris Evans and Christopher Plummer's and Tony Connelly's performance. The writing is sharp, the direction is definitely there, the vision of the film is there. Like, there's a minor character who is inspired by an alt-right troll who somewhat criticised Last Jedi, and that big chair which looks like the Iron Throne but with knives, which looks so cool. Of course, the writing's there, the acting's brilliant. I feel it's a really great murder mystery story. I think this murder mystery should be involved in like pub murder mystery nights because it's so great, even though I've never been to them. And my favourite film of the year is Awkwafina, The Farewell. I somewhat was going to anticipate somewhat of the most bittersweet movie I saw in a while because back home, because my grandfather is on Hark Edition and my granduncle, who is relatively close to the family, passed away in 2019 because he had cancer in his lungs and heart. I feel like, how are they going to deal with like a plot where they have to lie to where she has to lie to her grandmother along with her parents that she has cancer, and to do so they have to stage a wedding to somewhat distract from that. I mean, when I saw it, I was just in a state of awe. I found this so beautifully, brilliantly, distinctively. I loved it. I liked it. I want to bathe in that movie. This is one of these films that I just fanboy about because I just love this movie so much. They tackled such rather touchy subject matter about dying relatives, and he handled it so well. The performances of Awkwafina is deserving of that Golden Globe, but how the hell did it not get a BAFTA nomination or an Oscar nomination? This movie, this is just downright blasphemy. The writing is brilliant. The direction of Liu Yang is great. The whole movie is just so joyful and so sad at some points, and the acting is great. This movie is just brilliant. It's just probably one of my favorite. Not just The Farewell, not just one of the best film of the year, but probably one of my favourite films of the decade. This is Elijah Wells, and bye.